Okay, friends, so recently I was telling you a little bit about the circle of fifths, about how there are things that I don't see a lot of people discussing as it relates to the circle of fifths. So, a lot of the basic stuff that you'll get has to do with, the key signatures. So, like C major, no sharps, no flats, G major, one sharp, F major, one flat, relative minor to C major would be A minor. Things of that nature. Now, what they don't talk about are the relationships, why that stuff matters. You might listen to a few different channels that get into like the cage system, and the cage system, it has its use for guitar players. However, we're talking about songwriting. And for the purposes of what I'm talking about, we're talking about functional harmony and how these chords play a part together to create progressions that go somewhere. So, whenever you're trying to compose something that's somewhat original, nobody wants to sound like everybody else. I mean, I get that, but we all kind of use the same rules. So, here's what we're looking at. C major, A minor, since they are the relative to each other, C major is the relative to A minor, you can go back and forth between those chords all day long. The 1 can go to the 6, and it can go straight back to the 1. The 6 tends to go back to 2. Let's say in the key of C major, the 2 chord would be D minor, which is the relative minor of F major. So what can you do from D minor? Immediately, you can go straight to F major. You can treat those as basically the same chord. We're just talking about a basic 1, 4, 5 progression here, basically. Back to 1. So you can go back and forth between the 2 and 4, and from 2 and 4, you can go to 5, which in this case is G major. From the 5, you have a few choices. You can go back to either 1, you can go back to the 6, if you want to keep things going, or if you want to create a bridge, the relative minor to G major is E minor. And that's generally what you would use the 3 chord for anyway, is to create a bridge. And as far as your diminished 7 chord goes, you can treat this as being functionally the same as a 5 chord, because here's what happens. If you take a B diminished chord and you add the 5th scale degree, being the G, to the root, you have a 5-7 chord. So for all intents and purposes, you can use your 7 diminished chord as being the same as the 5. And using this formula, you can create chord progressions all day long using a simple format. Now, yes, it's kind of tried and done to death, so to speak. However, this is what 90% of the popular music over the past 150 years has been based on. I mean, if you're starting out songwriting and you just want to write something simple and you don't really have that much experience, this is a great way to get started. Now, once you have a better understanding of the foundation of this kind of progression, you can do some more creative things. You can do some borrowing from some of these neighbors You can do a lot of things. You can do some key changes. And from there, the sky starts to open up just a little bit. So if any of this has been helpful to you today, please drop me a like. And if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Take care.